My name is Jason Watson. We're here today. I should introduce myself. One of the partners at WCG. We're with Jason Schneider, our managing partner at WCG, and Megan Oeltjenbruns. Did I get that?
It's close.
It's close. I look at your name like, this should be easier. I could probably read off your name easier than I can just remember, So we are talking a little bit about, in this segment of the podcast, of what it takes to be successful at WCG, kind of describe some of the positions that we are seeking individuals to fill and to help join our team, or help us out with and join our team. And maybe some of the challenges that we're facing systemically as an accounting industry, maybe some things that are specific to WCG that, makes us unique, but also makes it challenging to do what we do. So, Megan, what does it take in your eyes to be successful? And you've been here, for those people that are jumping into, let's say, the podcast mid-segment, if you will. You've been here for 8 months now?
Yep, I started late October, so kind of right in the ramp up to tax season.
Okay. Jason's been here for 6 months?
October 1.
Eight, so 9, something like that. Similar, I guess, right? Almost identical.
Not too far off.
Still had to wrap up a tax season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true.
I missed that part. I started right after that.
Yeah, so it's awesome. You were both joined our team into leadership roles, all that stuff, and you're finding success. So what does it take to be successful at WCG?
I think there's a few things. One of the major ones is entrepreneurial mindset.
Yeah.
I think that you have to be self-motivated, you have to be ready, and you have to be a little competitive, a little ambitious,
It's one of the questions we ask now. Are you competitive?
Yeah, I mean, not competitive like I'll step over you to get where I'm going, but competitive in that, I would like to be at the top of the leaderboard. Thank you.
Yeah. I want to be recognized.
Yes, that would, that's a big thing for us, and we do. We are a competitive firm internally as well as externally. Yes. I mean, we are all trying to get better every day, and that means getting better when compared to others too. So I think that is a big trait. If you're looking at things, but the entrepreneurial mindset is a huge deal because we have so many clients that are entrepreneurs, right? I mean, they have started their own businesses, and to be able to understand where they're coming from, be able to provide, context for what they have going on, and really internalize that and know how that feels. We have to feel that same way about the book of business that we manage and the firm as a whole. So I think that's one of the bigger ones.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Jason, what do you think? Finding success at WCG.
Depending on the position.
And I shouldn't even say finding success. It's not like it's it's not like you're on a scavenger hunt. No success here, but how do you create success at WCG? How about that?
Yeah, you need to have, I agree with you, Megan. I mean, there's some competitiveness that needs to be there, but it's playful but serious, right? And it's one of those things, I'll step back just a little bit, and we're going through some competitive right now. We're increasing our accounting revenue, and there's some incentives out there. Yeah. And man, when Tina brought on 2 clients or 3 clients, I was just like, no.
All hands went.
Yeah. And she does it very casually. Yeah. She looks at her nails like, I brought on 3. Yeah. Like it was no big deal.
So you, if you want to find success or be successful, that kind of needs to bother you a little bit. No, I want to find a couple clients. And then going back to a conversation that one of our staff had, it's like, I'm gonna blow the entire accounting industry out, and they're all coming to WCG, right? That's ultra competitive, which is cool.
His personal mission.
A personal mission. So that does exist, and you can't discount that.
No. Mm-hmm.
It's part of our culture. And the other thing is, I would, there's probably a better term, but I would like to call it flexibility, where you need to be able to stop, move forward again, stop, pivot, stop, have a discussion, stop, move forward again, have a consult. And that you need to be okay with that, because in accounting or the CPA world, I'd like to think that there's a couple different types of professionals. One that enjoys the day-to-day consistency, and the other that drives them bonkers.
Right.
And I think that WCG is looking for the people where that drives them bonkers, the monotony or the day-to-day consistency.
Yes, I would say that's awesome, because I look at, and we probably shouldn't mention names, but I look at one individual who's probably more quiet, and she is not going to go out there and take down the entire bookkeeping industry coast to coast and have them all come to WCG. But she loves what she does. She does a great job at it. She does a lot of it. And it's almost like running. I used to race, and it was a unique sport because you competed against yourself. You had your time that you wanted to beat on this particular course or whatever, but you also competed with everybody else. So you kind of had these dual competitions. And the person I'm thinking of, I know you probably know who I'm talking about. I think she internally is very competitive. Externally, she's just like, whatever, she's it's no big deal to her. She's competing with herself.
But she always also just very quietly lands at the top of the leaderboard.
She's also been, I wouldn't say accused, I think she freely admits this. She'll snoop around.
Yeah.
How many has so-and-so done? What's so-and-so up to? Yeah, no, it's funny. But then there's the others who are very, not want to say loud, but they're just very visible. And they're like, look, this is my objective today, this week, this month, this year. And they lay it out there, and they let the whole world know, this is what I got going on, this is what I want to accomplish. So you don't necessarily have to be, I don't think, outwardly, kind of like what you were saying before, outwardly competitive, but you kind of have to have I want to win. I want to win this client's trust. I want to win this engagement. I want to win, whatever. There was a great story I was listening to on Sports Center or something like that. It was somebody with Drew Brees. So they were playing on the Saints football team, and he and Drew were going into the building, the facility, and they were the first ones in. And Brees started to go a little faster. He's like, oh, he's going to hold the door open for me. No, he wanted to be the first in the building. He walked right in, he didn't hold the door open. He's like, that was his I wanted to be first, So anyway, that was a little excessive, of course. Yeah. But no, so finding success, I look at it too. I think you have to be, you have to desire the engagements that we have. On some levels, we have, and our industry talks of the back office, front office, right? You got the back office, kind of like the grinders, and the front office is the face, the client facing, and all that stuff. You need both and all that. But understanding the engagements that we have, understanding that on the other end of this deliverable, this tax return, is a human who is very, very connected to the deliverable. We have discussed this in the past about the faceless engagement. We do not have faceless engagements. We are in the people business who happen to need tax returns and other things. And if you're not in that mindset of helping others, I believe, if you're not in that mindset of helping others and providing them the comfort in minimizing tax, being compliant, all those things that we do, it might be hard. I'm not saying you won't find success or have success here, but that's what our clients want. What do you think about that?
Well, I think the rewards of this job are in those interactions, right? What makes you feel like you've done a good day's work? You had some really good phone calls where the clients were helped and they were appreciative of your knowledge and your time. That's what makes me feel like, I'm killing it, And so, the compliance, I think you've said, is the compliance should just be kind of the bow on the end of the year. Yeah. It's the planning, it's the conversations, it's all those things that go into it. It's the consult that should make the tax return the most painless thing in the world. Yep. And so that's all relationship based. Yep. 100%. We have to be those people's trusted advisor. They have to come to us. We have to be comfortable with that. We have to be excited about it.
Yep. Yeah, we are interviewing somebody in super smart, brilliant, high 90s and all the CPA exams, all that stuff. And we decided together, she and the group, that this wasn't a good fit because she wants that complicated partnership tax return, take 2 weeks to spend on it, all that. And I've said it before, you've heard me say it, I'm really happy there are CPA firms that do that work. It's not the work that I want to do. I don't know about you guys necessarily, but it's not the work that I want to do. I like the people aspect of it, But however, having said that, I'm happy that there's CPA firms who do that.
Yeah.
So how about you?
Well, I think that's a good point to reiterate. Like, that needs to be laid on the table, right? And
the people aspect?
The people aspect and the relationship and human interaction and professionalism and everything that comes with interacting with humans versus compliance-oriented, technically skilled tax work where maybe a human's not involved, right? There's a huge separation there.
Yeah.
And when we're looking at bringing on new individuals, being successful at WCG or what we're trying to look for, we're that human interaction, personal piece. And whenever I'm in an interview process, I lay that on the table first. And I think you do too.
Yeah.
Like, tell me what you want, and then let's go down this path together and figure out if it's a good fit. Because one is going to just kind of, you can align success almost immediately if you can focus your attention on what the needs of the candidate or prospective employee is.
Yeah, I agree. So, senior staff accountant, tax manager positions, those are seemingly very challenging for the entire industry to find. We sort of talked about draft and develop versus free agency, earlier. Can you describe the senior staff accountant role and how you view it at WCG?
Yeah, I think if you're thinking in terms of, just comparatives, where our tax managers, I think I said earlier, is something like a mini partner, your senior staff is something like a mini tax manager. Yeah. What we need to see from senior staff is the ability to review and analyze, and the ability to mentor younger staff and develop them. That's a huge deal. And so we really expect that to be to some extent, a stepping stone position, right? We want them in there doing that important work with the goal of moving up into management, right? They're at the first level of leadership there for our firm.
Client communication is one of them. Like, they need to feel comfortable in reviewing a tax return with a client. And as easy as that sounds, and I don't know about to our listeners as easy as that sounds, like reviewing a tax return with a client, but there's no tax return review that's the same. And in that senior role, what that, in my mind, when I say needs to be able to review that tax return with a client, that means that they've been through enough experiences that they know how to address issues that arise during those conversations.
Yep.
That's that flexibility, right? Is because when the client says, yeah, that all sounds great. Anyway, I'm thinking of doing this year. You have to be able to say, that sounds great. Let's talk about that, and it does just take, it takes some knowledge and it takes some experience.
And I think you have to take temperature of the client and all that stuff. I remember sitting in on a tax return review, and the tax returns laid out on the table, and the client, the husband and wife team, come in. They're older, retired, and all that. They come in, and the person reviewing the return with them immediately starts talking about the return. And I kind of said, hey Gary, hey Judy, how was Italy? Tell me about your trip, because I knew they were gone, because they had to extend their return. We did it later in the summertime, and then because they wanted to review the return and all these things, and that's it, right? So then you have that kind of engagement or that kind of review, and then you get on the phone with somebody who's like, oh, I don't need to review my return. I'm fine, but I do want to talk about this latest new adventure that we're going to be going down. And then you get the person who says, hey, on page 184, there's a checkbox that's not checked. And you're like, I didn't even think this return was 184 pages long. Let me quickly look at page 184, and you have to be able to pivot and take temperature and do all that stuff. Recognizing your audience, what they want.
I'll add one more where the client's like, you called me. What do you want to discuss? And be like, whoa, we're going to review your tax return. And be like, oh, I'm okay. But while I have you on the phone, right, here's what's going on with my life.
No, that's awesome. Well, Kelly's given us the wrap it up signal.
Okay.
We didn't get through everything that we wanted to on this segment, but that's okay. I think the next one that we want to talk about, so I want to tease it a little bit, is what are some of the challenges that WCG need to overcome that we've created, or that we're victims of, if you will, if you want to call it that, because of the system. So stay tuned to that next one. My name is Jason Watson with WCG. I'm alongside Jason and Megan, also from WCG, and we'll talk to you in a little bit.